Okay, I'm changing things up a bit, kicking things up a notch, as that Cajun chef used to say on the telly. Um, what I'm going to do from now on is try and make up for the fact that, brilliant as it may be, this blackjack simulation from the Wizard of Oz, it doesn't have the kind of information in it that the Baccarat Win Pro Baccarat platform has. That is, I think, the absolute epitome of brilliance as far as practicing online before you put real money in play in a casino, or indeed at a real money online casino. But this is a great simulation, a great program. And I'm often saying in these demos that the professional gamblers, I think they like to think of themselves as professional gamblers on YouTube, the cherry pickers who only show us the good videos that they want us to see, and just a few of the losing sessions. Those guys, they win big when they win more bets than they lose. But when they're getting hammered, when they're getting beaten up by a dealer on a winning streak, or a shoe that's gone bad, or however you want to describe it, they lose everything. They get sort of badly wrecked, as Vegas Matt likes to put it. So in the demo that's coming up, you will see me win in the end, but I've stopped it right here just for now, so that I can do this kind of prelim bit and explain that, okay, right here, right now, at this point, which is 22 minutes into the session, 21 minutes and 53 seconds to be absolutely pedantically precise. I am 22,538 in the shitter. And I do recover. But the point that I'm trying to make in all of these demos is, mostly you are going to lose more bets than you win. Therefore, you need to be using a betting strategy which enables you to win more when you win than you lose when you lose, so that your average winning bet exceeds the value of your average losing bet by a percentage which overpowers and nullifies the house advantage for the session that you're involved in. Now, right now, at this point, we are, let me see, 39, 39, 47 wins and 69 losses. And then we move to 48, 72, 75, 48 wins and 76 losses. Now, I come out of this with a fat profit, as explained in the title of this demo, but it isn't a fluke. It comes because I use my bankroll, which is huge. I use my bankroll sensibly, logically, numerically, and strategically, and I kick the dealer's ass in the end. Now, all of the data, all of the numbers will be explained in an Excel transcription at the far end of this demo. But what I want to show before I go into it is that, what I'm out to prove is that pattern betting, which is just basically a particularly smart version of progressive betting, though I says it shouldn't, as they say up north in the UK, and I have always conceded that there are probably far better betting strategies out there than mine, but they must be progressive, because that's the only way you can beat negative expectation. They must be clever, because that's also what it takes to beat negative expectation. And they must also be backed by a honking great bankroll, All of those things are essential to beating the house. Okay? So, tune in, tune out, do whatever you want. I can, as I've said many times before, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So enjoy it. I hope you gain something for it, and it's worth watching, I promise you. Oh, and what I forgot to say in that little preamble there was that to anybody out there who's watching this, who believes that simulations like this one from the Wizard of Oz are not the same as the real thing, or can be manipulated, or are in some way rigged, and I've had all of that coming at me. It's crazy. All I can say to somebody like that is, please, please remove your cranium from your posterior, sit down, try to beat this simulation, which is readily available online for free. Okay, try and beat it using your usual self-destructive, suicidal, non-strategic betting, non-strategy, whatever, and then come back to me and tell me that this simulation is not as powerful or as dangerous or as hard to beat as the real thing. It is a fact that this is a precise mimicry, recreation, whatever you want to call it, of a real 8-deck shoe of blackjack. It is flawless. There are a couple of things that irritate me. One is the fact that there's this thing up the top here which tells you ahead of the concealed card, the down card being revealed. It tells you what's up there. Doesn't affect me in the least because I play the basic strategy. And it might be helpful to say, oh, okay, well, I've got 16, but he's got 15 up there, so I'm not going to hit it. Well, you'll never catch me doing that. I don't play that way. The basic strategy is terrific. I've got a couple of little adaptations to it that I've made on my own, but basically, I stick with it. I love it. It's common sense. It's logic. It's mathematics. So, by all means, stray if you want from the basic strategy, but be prepared to go home broke. Up to you. But yeah, to anybody who thinks that this is an easily beaten simulation, please take a few, do a screen recording of a session in which you prove that this is a crooked or beatable or rigged or manipulatable strategy. Good luck with that. Well, hello again. First off, a confession. I think I'm going to have to admit to some sort of self-flagellation fetish, because I just spent 10 minutes or so watching Cody Burnett from Toronto losing and then winning back $1 million in blackjack and baccarat sessions in Las Vegas. And I got to tell you, that guy is a major Looney Tune. I don't know what people get out of watching these things. As I've said many times, I don't really understand gambling as a spectator sport, but I'm obviously out of step with a lot of people because Vegas Matt is closing in on 1 million subscribers. I did actually look up to see if it was possible to buy subscribers in huge blocks, and apparently it is, but I'm sure that Vegas Matt and his merry men would not do such a terrible thing. But I just don't understand it. I mean, like, if you're going to gamble, then obviously that's something in your DNA or in your genome or whatever the hell it is that sort of like predisposes you to taking risks and being stupid. And I'm one of those people, I have to say. So don't take that as any kind of a criticism. I don't know. Well, I just Cody's just bonkers, and I don't see any merit whatsoever to his methodology, to his attitude, to his language, to his demeanor, anything. Oh dear, that would be 3-2 drop. And now it's 3-2. That was the win trigger. And now it's 1-2. Well, that was lucky, wasn't it? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alexa,
this is a
stop. I'm not thirsty. Well, actually, I am. It's a good thing to have, actually, that thing. I have a pacemaker, so I need to keep my blood flowing well. I'm on blood thinners, and regular hydration is a good thing. I mean, even if you don't have a pacemaker. Where the hell am I? I just made 150. Whoop-de-doo. Okay. +1. 51 second. Oh. 2-3. Third. Again. That was cheeky too, wasn't it? I like that. Okay. Back to the min. Never forget how important it is to always fall back to the minimum, even if you have to go to another table. Just do it. Okay. Keep catching these dealer pulls, dealer catches, dealer hits, dealer whatever. I think that's a plus. And that would be a repeat. And that would be 2-3. Well, that worked, didn't it? Back to the min. To repeat. Back to the minimum. So there's sort of lots of components to this strategy, but that's a key. Falling back to the minimum. When you get your profit, your moolah, don't be greedy. Fall back to the minimum. It's a big mistake that most gamblers make, is they just keep pressing and pressing and pressing, and they lose a connection with exactly where they're at any given time. Is that a plus? Like I just lost my connection with where I was at. I have an excuse. I'm doing a demo here. Another lucky one. Damn it. Not so lucky. Okay, so 2, 3. 2, 3, 8, 10. I think 8, 10, third. Oh, bloody hell. Look at that. Damn it. Okay, so with 2,000 there to protect a pot of 950. So I don't think that was a bad deal. Well, there's always going to be people who disagree with me. They're the people who talk about protecting the bankroll. I mean, the whole concept of protecting the bankroll is nonsense, I promise you. If you break up your primary weapon into small pieces, then, it's unless you're David versus Goliath. If you have that kind of imagery of yourself, then fine. But what you basically need is a honking great rock to kill, to stun, knock down, or vanquish a bloody giant. And that's what the casinos are against you, because they've got all the money in the world and you are limited. So you need to go to your limits if you must, in order to beat them at their own games. That's a repeat. All right, minimum. Maybe what I'll do is get one of those little blowers and make a back to the minimum noise. No, I think that would annoy people terribly. I have these things that I play for my kids and grandkids when they have birthdays, and I do this video thing because everybody's far, far away, in either California or Japan or South Africa, actually. And then I've got a last remaining cousin, first cousin in West Australia. Oh boy, talk about spread around. What was that? That's a double for the loss. Yeah, but I use this tutor thing that drives everyone nuts, but it makes me smile. What happened to my luck? Good gracious, 1, 2, third. Oh, it is. Came back. Minimum. Double for the loss. Oh, 1, 2 again. Third. That was good. I like that one. Spoiled that one, didn't I? That's a double for the tie. Uh-oh. 51 second. 2, 3 third. 5, 3 drop. 5, 3 it is. 8, 6. 14, 15 third. Now we're into serious money. Oh, shame. Okay, back to the min. Less one. Less one. Yeah, you're never going to hit soft 18 against a 7. Against an 8 or higher, yes. I mean, there are people who sort of say, "Well, don't hit soft 18 against an 8," but we don't we don't come to the game to push, so it's just silly. Um, okay, I think that's going to be 1, 2. Now it's 3, 4. Third, I think. 7, 4 drop. 7, 4 it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's nice. Should I stand on that, do you think? So that's 1, 2, isn't it? 3, 4. I thought I was going to see a turnaround there. 7, 8 shows what I know. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8. Ouch! 15, 8. Well, we're going to get a new shoe in a second anyway, so drop. 15, 8 it is. Oh boy. I was lucky. So now we're on 7, 8. Now we're on 15, 16. Owie. So that's going to be 3.5, 2. Drop. 3.5, 2 it is. 1.5, 2. Well, I'm not doubling for that. 1.5, 2 is where we're at. That's not going to work. Oh, it did. Oh, my goodness. Well, we didn't make much there for quite a lot of expenditure, but we did protect our winnings, not our bankroll, but we fought to keep our winnings. So, going to take a little bit of a break here. All right, back in play. Where am I? Oh, I think I'm not sure if that was the right thing to do. Okay, well, that's because I had to have a necessary interruption there. Wasn't very bright of me. I should have finished the hand before I broke off. Right. Okay. Double for the loss. 1, 2, third. Okie dokie. 1, 2, 5, 4, drop. Okay, now the dealer is getting dealer's luck. I think we're going to have to call that 6-4 now. 6-4 it is. That was the win trigger. Oh dear, that was rotten. Yeah, we should have been good there. But you just never can tell with this game. 10-8. Okay, back to big bucks again. 18-20, third. Hey. So that's 4-2 drop. I'm not going to run away from this one. Damn it. 4-2 it is. Ah, 6-4. Remember, the cards don't know about the value of the bets. 6-4. That was good. I like that one. 2-3. See, that's what I call a just and reasonable outcome. Back to the men. I mean, all I'm trying to get across with these demos. Oh, was that a Freudian slip? With these demos, is you have to go all in when necessary. You have to pile it on, because being cautious, being conservative, being nervous, being scared is never going to get you anywhere. 51 second. 2-3 third. That's a bugger, isn't it? Look at that. 5-3. We're getting some real shit coming at us. 5-3 drop. I've got to call it 6-3, I think. That was a nasty loss we had back there. 6-3. Look at this stuff that he's pulling up there. 6-3, 9-6. Mind you, that was pretty clever. 3-4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 7-8. It's always a shame to miss these turnarounds, you know. All right, so we got that one. This doesn't seem right to me. I think we had more than that out there, didn't we? Well, not much I can do now. I think I screwed up there. One, two. That worked. Minimum. Double for the loss. I think I should probably do an analysis of this one if I post it. Repeat. 51 second. Double for the push. Minimum. Double for the push. All right. 1, 2. 3, 4, third. 7, 4, drop. 7, 4 it is. I mean, basically what we're doing here is just trying to save ourselves when we hit an extended losing streak. Okay, so now we got the turnaround bet, which we lost. So now we're on 7-8 second. 15-16 third. Bummer. Oh, okay. So 3.5, 2. And again, we've got a new shoe coming, so I'll just drop. Three and a half, 2 it is. Hey. 5.5, 4. 9.5, 10 third. Oh, that's not fair. Getting nasty now. It's a new shoe already, so 9.5, 10, so that's 20, 10. Drop. Ouch. Okay. Well, we're in big money country now, so we're not going to. So 2010. Oh boy. Oh, I don't have enough, do I? It's not letting me cancel, is it? Oh, of course it wouldn't. Well, what I'm going to do here is if I catch this one, I'm going to count. Well, I can't because the counter is over here, isn't it? Frustrating. Okay, so 20. Well, I'm lucky I didn't have to do that one. Okay, so 2010, so that's 3010. Or should I count it as 4010? I'm in a bit of a quandary here. Plus 2462 and minus 25,000, and we're now on 3010. But remember, that's just three. Oh, it's 30,000. So what I'm trying to say is, I mean, even when I'm not playing with real money, I don't feel hugely happy when it gets into heavy duty territory like this. What I'm trying to say is 3010 is easily recovered, because we've got a reasonable relationship between the bet that's going out and the hole that we're in. Whereas if we were sort of 30,000 down and we were betting only 500, then we'd have no chance. That's reality. Anyway, so we're at 3010. We've got 2,462 left in our decimated bankroll there, and 25,000 against us on the other side. And I've got to adjust the rules so that I can go up if I need to, because we're moving into one of the hallowed halls, and we're dropping. Okay, so now we're at 3010. Oh boy, oh boy. 4020. Damn it. See, we can't even win against a 5 up. 4020. 60. It's better be 60-50 now, I think. So now we'd better call it 10-15, I think. Oh dear. Oh my God. Oh God. So it's 10, so that's 45 we just lost. So that's 55. 15 drop. This is a toughie, isn't it? So 55, 15. So that's 40, 30 is the next one. And now 10-15 again. 25-30. I think we just got out of trouble. But this is just a perfect example of what I've been preaching. And some people say, well, it's obvious. Obviously, if you had all the money in the world, you could win. You could beat them. Well, you look at somebody like Cody Burnett, who has all the money in the world, who can call out and say, give me 600,000, give me 400,000 or whatever. And he still gets his ass kicked because he's a crap player. He plays randomly, he bets randomly. He gets a very, very narrow spread, his bets. I've ranged here from 25 to the absolute max. But the message basically is always the same. You have to have a huge bankroll. You have to believe in what you're doing, and sometimes you have to work harder than others. So currently we're looking at plus 150,000 over here, minus 100,000. So we've got markers of 125,000 against us, and we've got 152,000. $462. So we have won 27,462. But Christ, we had to work for it this time. But the thing is, I'm sorry about all the sort of spluttering and coughing and all that sort of stuff. There's nothing I can do about it. I just keep drinking water, and I'm going to drown one of these days. But anyway, all I'm saying to you is, it's just another illustration. I always hesitate to say proof. I mean, I think of it as proof, but most people are more comfortable with the idea that it illustrates, the sort of the situation that we all face in these games. If you play on a shoestring budget with a narrow betting spread, they will beat you. Always. If you have a big bankroll and you bet randomly, they will still beat you. Not always, but, often, most of the time. So at the end of the year, like Vegas Matt and his crew, I'll have to say, well, we lost 300,000 this year. I mean, for goodness sake, that's 8,000 a day. I mean, it's horrendous. But because those guys, bet randomly in spite of their huge resources, they are losers. You have to bet strategically, tactically, cleverly, consistently, with a lot of cash to back you up, and you'll beat them. You won't otherwise. It's always just that simple. Okay, so this is the other bookend for this particular session, which was, well, I think to call it a bitch would be too kind. 54 wins, 82 losses, but we've come out with a clear win. And, the smart asses out there are going to say, yeah, well, you just got lucky, didn't you? You just had, I mean, that is the entire point of the game, of course, is to have the right amount of money out at the right time. But you cannot beat these table games unless you have a shitload of money, unless you have a plan, unless you're stone cold sober and turning up your nose at so-called complimentary cocktails, unless you know what you're doing and all of that stuff. But here we're looking at a house advantage which will be enumerated in a moment, because I'll drop in little outtakes from the Excel transcription that I'm just about to start working on. But there's no luck involved in this. There's just strategy, tactics, logic, good sense, mathematics. That's all it's about. And if you want to beat these games and not pay attention to the numbers, forget it. You might as well stay home. And as I've said many times, because everything that I say I've said many times before, I'm really boring like that. You might as well burn your money, flush it down the toilet. I don't know, throw it out of the car window on your way to Las Vegas and turn around and go home. Come on. It's just nuts the way that people play. And I get agitated a little bit by the Vegas Mats and the Mr. Handpays and the Bluffin' Bobbies and the Degen Dolts and all the rest of it, because they all play like prats and absolutely wallow in it. They love it. They think they're being absolutely amazing. And yes, they're getting checks from Google at the end of the month. But look at Vegas Matt, 800 a day on average every day of the year. That's a week's wages for your average American. Every bloody 24 hours, flush. And yeah, he has his big wins and his big losses and all the rest of it. The one thing I'll say about Vegas Matt is he is the guy who's telling the truth. He is up front. The rest of them, I'm not so sure. I have no proof, but I look at Mr. Handpay, for instance, and he's like at 4% ahead of the house after since March 15th. So it's like, it's creeping up on 9 months now, or maybe it is 9 months since I started tracking him. And I'm looking at that and I'm scratching my head and I'm thinking, wait a minute, how does anybody do that? Maybe he's pulled it off. Maybe he's got a magic trick. Maybe he's inherited something from Siegfried and Roy. I don't know. Very unlikely. Another guy is Brandon O'Brien. He kicks shit all over the place. But I think that there are some sessions that he's not telling us about. Again, I have no proof. And I could be completely wrong, but all I'm saying is, I spent nearly 40 years playing regularly in casinos in Nevada, and I lived in Los Angeles for 10 years, and then in Nevada for what 28 years, and played frequently, not daily, but certainly at least a couple of times a week. And I took it very seriously. I used the progressive betting strategy for sports betting, for all kinds of things, but mainly against blackjack, which is my favorite game by far. But certainly from time to time at craps and at roulette, and well, whatever. Because I'm a gambler. I I hate to say it because I like to think of myself as being a player rather than a gambler, but I do have a gambling kind of instinct. My father was a compulsive gambler, and I had a wonderful aunt who was likewise a compulsive gambler. Her thing was horse racing, and I've got a progressive strategy, betting strategy, which is very similar to the one that I use for baccarat and all these other casino table games, and it works like a dream. It's fantastic. And dear old Betty, if she was still alive, she'd be over the moon about it. She'd somehow find a way to finance it. She'd sell her house, she'd sell her husband, she'd sell her children, whatever. Anyway, enough of that. I hope somebody's getting something out of this. I sure am. So catch you later. Okay, so what you're looking at, if you've stayed with me this far, if you have, you deserve a medal. Is the post-mortem, an analysis of a seriously horrible set of shoes from the simulation, which some idiots out there have said that I'm somehow manipulating or controlling or rigging or whatever. These post-mortems, this kind of analysis is anathema to your average gambler. There's no doubt about that. It takes all the fun out of the game. It's it's not the way it's supposed to be. Blah de blah de blah de blah. And of course, these are people who think that losing is fun, or at least they must think that losing is fun because they keep coming back for more losses. So anyway, the important thing to stress is that this is a sample. A data set of outcomes that would destroy the likes of Mr. Hanpay and Vegas Matt and Bobby Rivas and Brandon O'Brien and Cody Burnett and other professional gamblers on YouTube who basically hurl money around like it's going out of style and bet with little or no strategy. Brandon likes to follow the winner, which is a bad idea, and obviously can't be done at blackjack. But as a matter of fact, perhaps it could. I think back in the dim mists of time, I've had a look at that as a possibility. Where if the dealer wins, then you bet low on the next one, and then whatever. Anyway, the most important thing to do is to look at the numbers here. We had 131 bets, right? And everything is contained in here. 51 wins, 72 losses, which is a horrible, horrible house percentage. It's enormous. We won an average of 2,880 when the dust settled. An average loss of 1,660. So that's an average win over average loss of 174%. And this is what you need to achieve in order to beat the kind of negative expectation that was thrown at us this time. We risked, where is it? We went down, here it is, 52,513, which is right here, okay? So that's how far we went into our bankroll in order to beat the odds. This win-loss pattern chart is It's actually my favorite chart in all these post-mortems, because it shows you very easily what we rely on with pattern betting. I mean, yes, we are absolutely outnumbered in terms of reds against greens here. But what we do is we bet in such a way, once we get a win trigger, which is like here, just one little win, and then we start betting and pushing and pushing. And as soon as we lose 3 in a row, then we step back and just wait until the next win trigger. And this is the only way that you can beat negative expectation. Other than luck, of course, which is what the Mr. Handpays and Vegas Mats and various others rely upon, because they're in a lucky state. They are not dependent on beating the house. They're just dependent on building their audience, getting as many subscribers as they can, and then being confident in the knowledge that the check that they get from Google at the end of the month or every 15 days or whatever it is will be sufficient to cover their losses. Mr. Handpay, for one, told me once that he frequently lost as much as 100,000 a day, and I've never seen a session of his with 100,000 a day's worth of losses. So I don't know how that goes, how that works, and that's mainly why I sort of am inclined to think that he's cherry picking. Very few others are as open as that. Vegas Matt is the best of the bunch, because he, especially now since the beginning of this new year, EJ and WBG have started posting a sort of year-to-date running total in the concealed part of their description. So I think that probably most players are not noticing that. These little bits here are with every important turnaround. I've indicated exactly what happened in that particular sequence. So you've got a few like that, not too many. There's another big one here. Oh, and that's a pain in the ass because I've missed that thing. It'll do that, this program. It'll mess with your head. But I don't have too many complaints against Excel, that's for sure. What have we got here? So in this last horrible session in which we won 21,000, 18 losses, 11 wins, just in that sequence. We came out with 21,000. It was 9% of the total action, that's here. The house edge was 23%. The indicated loss, if we'd taken this house advantage here and applied it to the action total there, that indicated a loss of 52,000. But we didn't feel like doing that. We felt like winning. So we won 21,000 instead of losing 52,000. And that's how it has to be. Now, something that you're going to see in your own play, and which I see in mine from time to time, is I fuck up. I make a mistake. Here, for example, I took a potty break and came back and looked at the total win and thought, oh no, that can't be right. So I repeated the bet of 2,000. Now, that would have put me in serious trouble if I'd lost it, and then these other losses had followed. But it didn't, and, when you make a mistake, sometimes it'll work in your favor and sometimes it'll work against you. There's an error here where I dropped too soon. That was in my favor because I would have lost 1,600 there. But then, of course, I would have won commensurately more here. So, that's a swings and roundabouts situation. This was an outright theft on my part, but you know what? You make mistakes. What happened down here? I know I made a really super mistake here. My inclination was to double down here, but there wasn't enough in the sim account in the pile of chips to enable me to do that, so I didn't. And instead of losing 20,000, I lost 10,000. So, that actually, the sim denied the double down is how I've explained it here. So that worked in my favor. Down here, I think what I must have done to make this mistake rebetting a large amount of money, is that I think I must have factored in the 10,000 that wasn't there. It was kind of like, haunting me. And so I ended up making more money than I should. And I'm sorry about that. But sometimes mistakes will cost you very dearly. And this one didn't. And just going over here, as I said, you can see in this sequence, which starts with the last OK and then goes all the way through down here. We should have had our ass kicked, but it didn't happen, thanks to pattern betting. And just remember, you must have a strategy. You must have a lot of money behind you. You must believe in what you're doing. You must trust the strategy. You must follow it. You can make little sort of like tweaks and twerks and twiddles and all the rest of it. But as soon as you start to get into this kind of turds, a hole this deep, then you need to go back to the real McCoy. And going back up to the top, what are we looking at? We're looking at, look at this. I mean, this was horrible. Horrible. Why haven't I got the house? Oh, here we go. The flat AV was 17.1% against us. In this game of blackjack, it's supposed to be somewhere between minus 0.5 and minus 0.7. But that isn't how these games work, obviously. It's all about volatility. The volatility is what makes the casinos rich, because gamblers, especially the ones who accept the complimentary cocktails and don't know what they're doing and think that the numbers are nonsense and all of that sort of stuff, those guys, when they hit this kind of volatility, they just go to pieces. They go nuts. Look at Bobby Rivas, who will say, okay, Hail Mary, all in, and why not, and blah, blah. It's nonsense. Mr. Handpay does the same thing. He gets his knickers in a twist and hurls out a shitload of money, loses it, and that's one of the ones that he puts up. The other ones where he loses a lot of money, I think, stay in the vault and never actually posted. But, folks, I've said it so many times, and I've said it in this demo, and I'll say it here again right now. This is up to you. You don't have to pay attention to any of this stuff. But I promise you, if you don't know your numbers, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't understand the full extent of the challenge, and if you're not equipped to deal with it, then you really should not waste your money, because that's what you're doing. And if you are entertained and excited, and if you thoroughly enjoy losing, then pay no attention to me. But if you'd rather win than lose, then please do pay attention to me and watch these demos and see how it's done, and then apply this strategy to your betting in future. You will make money. You will sometimes have to work bloody hard to turn things around, just as I did here. But mostly it's ping pong, ping pong. I mean, look at all these OKs here. They're not far apart until you start to get down to the real, horrible shit down here. And then it's a long gap. You will encounter those. So, if you go to the game, if you belly up to the table with not enough money to take you through this kind of crap, then, you're dead meat. Don't bother, honestly.